God damn, I'm lazy. Personally, I don't usually bother with insurance. That's Dave who wrote today's episode. I have a mixed relationship with insurance. Like, some things I insure, the sort of things that would be financially devastating to me. But the rest of the time, I'm like, fuck it, it'll be fine. And even if it's not, it'll be fine. You know, like if it's a minor ding on the car, like I'm just not going to go to insurance about it because I'll lose my no claims and all of that shit. Like I just popped a tire. Not my fault, but I'm sure insurance would pay for it. But I'm like, 400 quid for like the whole fix or whatever. It's just like, I'm just going to do that. Just pay it because I don't want to deal with the insurance company who I know will make it a fucking enormous hassle for me to get paid. I've never paid for car insurance, largely because although I got behind the wheel many times during my youth and any insurance policy would have been instantly invalidated due to my lack of driver's license.
You've been blind all your life.
I know.
What were you doing driving a car?
I forgot.
Just before we continue, I want to say that this video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Look, whether you're just starting out or you're managing a growing brand, Squarespace make it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all on your own terms. And let's talk about a problem we all know well. Picture this. You're ready to launch your dream business, your brand, whatever you like, but building a website feels like trying to crack some sort of weird techno code, HTML, all that stuff. No one understands. I mean, people do understand, but normal people, I have no idea. First off, Squarespace Blueprint AI and SEO tools are a game changer. You get professionally curated layout and styling options that are completely personalized to your brand. Plus, with integrated SEO tools, your site is optimized for every device, ensuring you get discovered faster. And then there's Fluid Engine. This next generation website builder lets you unleash your creativity with reimagined drag and drop technology. Whether you're on desktop or mobile, customizing every design detail has never been easier. And let's not forget about their flexible payment options. Squarespace makes checkout a breeze for your customers. They can pay with credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, and in eligible countries, even with Afterpay and ClearPay, allowing buy now, pay later. So what are you waiting for? Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/blaze to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And now let's jump back into today's episode. I never get contents insurance because mostly up until recently I haven't had anything worth stealing, although I did have life insurance. Their insistence that I pay premiums every month and on time often conflicted with my writer's poverty, so I don't have that anymore either. Me neither. Life insurance just seemed like a bit of a scam to me. I think it's better in the UK, but here is the total scam. Scam, 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 it's a scam. And I was like, to make it worthwhile, it was so expensive. Whereas in the UK, I was like, okay, I'll just look it up on like a UK policy website. I think like, we've had Policy Genius as a sponsor. I think I ran my details through that one time. You know, obviously you can't do it because you have to be American or British or whatever. I mean, I'm British, but I don't. You have to be like a resident. And it was like $30 a month for like $1 million policy. I'm like, God damn. But it was like hundreds of dollars here. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'll be dead. What do I care? My family are like, we care, Simon. I do, however. It's fucking hot in here today. Jesus. I feel myself sweating. Why? Maybe I'm having a heart attack. I do, however, have pet insurance. Unless you are independently wealthy, pet insurance is absolutely essential. Not if you don't have pets, Dave. When my first dog, Sabre, a Belgian Shepherd street rescue, decided that he was not particularly happy about the 3 bulldogs who tried to attack us in the park and did something about it, the relevant vet bills, for which I somewhat bizarrely became legally responsible for, ran to about £8,000. Holy fuck. Dude, even the small cut that Sabre received on his ear cost £200 to stitch up. So where the fuck did the other $700-800 go? Given that I was a student at the time and my only regular income was EMA payments, a sort of £30 a week bribe that the government used to offer you so that you would go to your classes. What the fuck? Really? I don't even remember that. The fact that my insurance company paid out without any questions was rather satisfying. However, oh god damn, Dave, I'm so glad. I thought this was going to be the lesson where you found out that you had to have insurance and you were on the hook for £8,000, because that is a fuck ton of money. However, as we shall learn in today's episode, not all insurance companies are as quick to pay up when a customer needs to make a claim. I claimed once on insurance. This was back in the day. I had a rental car, accidentally locked the keys inside the rental car, had to break the window to get the keys out, and they were like, well, you lost your deposit, didn't you? And I'm like, yes, I did, but I had an insurance policy that covers the deposit. It was a fucking hassle to get them to pay up. I had to send them all sorts of documents. I had to chase them. I used a company called like Resolver or something like that to chase these people down for me. It took like 6 fucking months to get my grand back. And I was like, fucking hell.
Money fight!
Pedantic interpretation of wording. I am, by my own admission, a linguistic pedant and proud of it. Every time somebody says they've got something for free or asks a bartender if they can get another beer, I experience an involuntarily twinkle of superiority. This is that I would say, Dave. Although you're a writer, though. I'm just an idiot.
This is true.
Although this is undoubtedly childish, it isn't actually harming anyone. I mean, it pisses off my mates to no end, but I cannot conceive of any way that my actions could result in somebody becoming homeless. Sadly, when insurance companies choose to interpret policy documents 100% literally, this is a very real concern, as the following story demonstrates. Several years ago, an elderly lady who had been living in her home for many years was forced to spend an extended period of time living in a convalescent home while she recovered from a serious illness. During this time, she was still the legal owner of her home. It was still her registered postal address, and although she was not currently living in it, her children would go round regularly to ensure that all was well. Unfortunately, while she was away, her home sustained serious fire damage. So serious, in fact, that it would have to be entirely rebuilt. God damn! No problem, she thought. I have homeowners insurance. That is the insurance that I do have. I have the insurance, so if my home burns down, I will get a new home, which will be fucking annoying because I spent so much time renovating it. I mean, I haven't, but I've paid people to do it for me, and I've thought about the color of the walls. And by that, I mean my wife has thought about the colors of the walls, and I've said, yes. Sadly, when it came time to invoke that insurance, the company refused to pay out on the policy on the grounds that it had been taken out on the dwelling in which she resided, and at the time of the fire, she was not currently residing there. While this may sound like the flimsiest cop-out in legal history,
Shallow and pedantic.
when the lady and her family took the insurers to court, the judge found in favor of the company, and the refusal was upheld. Yes, I don't personally have experience of this, but I know someone who had an insurance policy on a property, and it said you have to be there at least one day a week. And so every week, they go rounds, check on the property, collect the mail, just so the insurance was all kosher. This is not a one-off incident either, according to insurancecommentary.com. Quote, as another example, a home was damaged by Hurricane Gustav. The homeowners had temporarily vacated the premises during remodeling, though they visited the premises daily. The insurer denied the claim because the insureds were insureds. I learned a new word today. Were not residing there at the time of the loss. This is insane. What? It's what if I'm at work and it burns down? It's you weren't residing there, you were out of the house, you were at work. You were just staying there the whole fucking time? What the fuck? What if I have a second home where I sometimes spend time? This is insane.
Insane, I tell you!
I'm genuinely not sure there is any useful advice to help combat this situation. Obviously, you should carefully read the small print of anything you sign, but in this instance, I personally would have interpreted the policy as meaning the residence that I owned, not the place that I was necessarily living at the time of any accident, so that would not have helped. I think living and residence are different things. If you are a resident of that property and you're having it remodeled and you're staying in a hotel, you're not a resident of the fucking hotel. It's that house. But if you own that house and you reside somewhere else, and that's your holiday home, you got to have different insurance for that holiday home because it's not like a primary residence or whatever, which is often a phrase you'll see in insurance documentation, I believe. The pandemic. I don't know if all of you remember, but a couple of years ago, the world largely ground to a halt.
Don't know what you're talking about.
What? I don't remember this. It's kind of like a bad dream. The COVID-19 pandemic caused many countries to instigate lockdown proceedings, during which, unless you were a member of parliament...
Pew, 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 pew. Cutting-edge material.
Yes, Dave. Unless you're a member of parliament, everybody was expected to remain home as much as possible, not socialise in large groups, miss out on attending funerals, leave elderly loved ones to die alone, all that fun stuff.
That got a little dark.
Dave is basically taking a jab because Boris Johnson was like, whatever you do, don't go to the hospital to bid Aunt Bethel goodbye. And then in the evening, he's having a fucking rager at like 10 Downing Street or whatever to ensure, allegedly. Not allegedly, he got fined for that. To ensure that as many people as possible remained inside, many businesses, especially those in the hospitality industry, were forced to close their doors and suck up the profit lost.
So much lost income! Is there no justice in this galaxy?
Fortunately, or so they believed, many of these companies had what is known as business interruption insurance. This insurance, according to a policy I found online, read through, simplified, and am now presenting to you, rarely mentioned the word pandemic, but usually offered payouts due to illness, building damage, inability to open your
I'm having a stroke up here.
inability to open your business premises for whatever reason, etc. Sounds pretty good, right? And in theory, yes. Unfortunately, when thousands of small businesses decided that now was the time to take advantage of their insurance policies that in some cases they had been paying into for many years, the insurance companies realized that all of these payouts could be financially crippling and set about looking for excuses not to pay. Isn't that why insurance companies have underwriters? So that if there is some disastrous event like a fucking hurricane, they can afford to pay out on all the destroyed homes. I thought that's what underwriters are for. These excuses were many and varied, but seem to have centered around the fact that the policies were meant for individual situations affecting individual companies, not, as one insurer was allegedly overheard saying, a fucking government-enforced shutdown spanning the entire country. Well, guess what, insurance company? Fuck you.
Fuck you with the fucking anchor. You're all cunts, so fuck you all. Go!
As you can imagine, this caused quite a lot of consternation among small business owners everywhere, and anyone with a fucking soul. Jesus. After all, what was the point in paying out thousands of pounds every year if, when the worst did happen, the companies that they had trusted would not help pick up the pieces? I have no insurance. If I get sick and can't record videos, it's just I just gotta get better. No one's paying me.
Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
Obviously, this had to be settled, and quickly. A test case was quickly put together, elevated to the highest court in the land, and concluded with a refreshing amount of speed and lack of fuss for the UK judicial system. The result, not only did the judge find in favour of the small business, ordering that insurers must not only make good on their policies but be quick about it, but they also decreed that in many cases, the compensation should be greater than initially expected. According to an article in the Daily Mail, quote, the ruling will also increase the value of claims paid to businesses instead of claims starting on the day legislation was introduced. They should be made from the day that initial direction or guidance was given by the government. The ruling also prevents insurers from arguing that turnover of a business should take into account any downturn before formal lockdown resulting from the COVID scare. Good, I like it.
Attention. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure. Call now.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
It's a rare thing indeed for insurance companies to be so summarily slapped by the open-handed justice. So when it does happen, I believe it is something to be celebrated. Fuck yes, and fucking good shout government, I like you. Various acts of God. Religion has a nasty little habit of sticking its nose where it's not wanted, whether it's prominent members of the Anglican Church blaming local flooding on LGBTQ plus people, or representatives of Jesus Christ knocking on your door at 9 a.m. on a Sunday to ask if you've heard the good word. 9 a.m. on a Sunday, I'm fucking up. 9 a.m.? I'm up at like 5:30, goddamn, by 9 a.m. the day has begun. Actually, that reminds me, I've got a really good story about Sunday God botherers. If you'll indulge me, I shall quickly share it with you. Okay. One Sunday morning, just before I was about to head off to work, I was sitting in my lounge enjoying a coffee when the sound of my next-door neighbor politely refusing the advances of some Jehovah's Witness drifted in through my open window. Resigned to my fate, I got up from the sofa and made my way to the front door just in time to open it and reject them with equal politeness. As I closed the door, I had an idea. My next-door neighbor on the other side was away on holiday and had left me a set of keys so that I might go and take care of his pets.
This is going to be good.
Moving quickly, I grabbed the keys, ran out through my back door, scrambled over the fence separating the two properties, unlocked his back door, and arrived in his lounge just in time to answer his door as well. And just to add to the illustrative effect here, for new viewers, Dave is fully blind. And just imagine a blind dude like running into the garden, getting over a fence, getting into someone else. I don't know why. It's just funnier, Dave. I'm sorry if that's offensive. I'm sorry. It's just funnier. Given that the two houses are very clearly not connected in any way, the obvious confusion which emanated from the two... That's it. The only prank is it's the same dude opening the door, and it's so good. Oh, that's so simple. I told them I had already said I was not interested and asked them why they were bothering me again, and it was incredibly satisfying. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, I remember. Religion poking its nose in where it isn't wanted. It seems that not even the world of insurance policies can escape the scourge of religion. Countless claims have been denied over the years due to so-called acts of God. So what does this mean? One insurance jargon bust. Well, if you're like religious, isn't fucking everything an act of God? Isn't that the whole like believing in God thing? Like he's the guy, the hands behind everything? I don't understand religion, and I also don't care. One insurance jargon buster describes an act of God as an event that is not the fault of any individual, such as a natural disaster.
Tidal waves, locusts, pillars of fire, plagues of boils, that kind of thing. Yeah, well, God's not in charge of that stuff anymore, Mr. Piggott. We have this thing called science.
Due to customers wising up to this scam, the term act of God is not usually included in insurance policies these days, but there was a time not so long ago when not only was it included, but some insurance companies would apply a much more literal interpretation. I found one article reported to have come from a shipping publication in 1891. The article tells the story of a vessel traveling from the US to the UK with a not inconsiderable amount of various valuables on board. Unfortunately, when the boat was about 40 miles from England, it ran into unspecified difficulties and sank beneath the waves.
Encore! If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to exposure to asbestos in the Navy, shipyards, mills, heating, construction of the automotive industries may have put you at risk.
Although everyone on board seems to have been rescued, none of the cargo was ever retrieved. Fortunately, the boat's owner was a forward-thinking fellow and had taken out insurance on his cargo. Unfortunately, when he submitted a claim, the insurance company refused to pay out, arguing that because the ship had been lost under an act of God, paying out on the policy would be broadly equivalent to directly subverting the will of the Almighty. I wonder if insurance companies are now legally required to declare their religious status to customers if asked. More recently, this get-out clause has been used alongside claims that the claimant is at fault for not carrying out sufficient maintenance on their property. The most notable example I could find came from a well-known British insurance company, the name of which I shall not provide due to their propensity to sue the fuck out of everybody. Thank you, Dave. When a lady put in a claim for storm damage on her roof, the company claimed that the storm damage would not have occurred if her roof had been in a good state of repair. They continued to argue this all the way to court, whereupon the lady provided irrefutable evidence that the roof had been installed only 6 months previously. Fuck you, insurance company, you cock. Along with a surveyor's report she had obtained as part of a recent remortgaging. Oh, fucking owned. How did you go to court when there was that? Happily, either because insurance companies are becoming less mercenary or more likely because the regulations that govern these companies have become more strict, the misinterpretation of act of God seems to be on the decline. Never lower your guard though, you will still often find this potential get out of paying clause lurking menacingly in the small print of your insurance policies. The storm wasn't stormy enough. You would think that taking out buildings insurance that should pay out if your building sustains any sort of damage that you did not cause deliberately or could not reasonably have been prevented, would automatically cover you against damage from a storm. Yes, this is the basic shit that my insurance should cover. Shit, a tree fell on my house. I got a little house in the countryside, and a tree fell on it and damaged the roof. And my builder was doing work on the property at the time, and he was like, well, yeah, I just reached out to the insurance company and we fixed it and they paid us. You don't have to pay. And I'm like, brilliant. Worked out incredibly easy. Also, my builder's a hero. He reaches out to the insurance company for me. Fucking legend. Sometimes this assumption would be correct, but not always. For example, in the UK, even a fairly comprehensive insurance policy against natural disasters may not specifically cover you against, say, an earthquake, simply because they're such a rare occurrence. That's not to say that an earthquake is not a natural disaster or that a reputable insurer wouldn't pay out should such an incident occur, just that you are unlikely to find a specific mention of earthquakes. Storm and flood damage is a different matter. I checked out a few policies online for various types of building cover. It's so hot today! Why is it so hot? I can't. I'm taking my jacket off. I know it's almost over. I'm taking my jacket off. Jesus Christ. Whoa. And all of them mention some degree of insurance against storm and flood damage. So, as I said a moment ago, you would think that unless your roof was already hanging off when the storm came, or you had deliberately poured cement down all of your drains just before the flood, you should pretty much be guaranteed a payout, right? Yes! Yes! Well, that depends. Depends on what you ask. Well, that's how you define the word storm. Webster's Dictionary, and I can hardly believe I'm using this particular writing device, defines a storm as, in this context, wind having a speed of 64 to 72 miles an hour. That's 103 to 170 kilometers per hour. At its most basic interpretation, you could quite reasonably believe that any damage caused by winds over 64 miles an hour would be categorized as a storm, and therefore any damage caused by them would be covered by your storm damage clause. Well, usually, but not always. It is not unheard of for claims to be denied because the policy that the customer signed defines storm winds as anything above, say, 70 miles an hour, or includes some completely arbitrary definition of the word storm, making it even more unlikely that the policy will cover it. While such rewriting of the English language will usually be overturned in court, it is a massive pain in the arse. Moreover, insurance companies deserve all the regulations that are put on them. Moreover, when you've just lost half your house due to storm damage and your insurance company won't pay out, you're not usually in a financial position to be able to pay for a long, expensive battle in the courts, and so many such claims are never actually challenged. Well, that fucking sucks. So, what can we take away from all of this? Well, nothing that we don't already know. Obviously, before you take out any kind of insurance policy, you should absolutely read through it word for word. Oh god, that's something I never do. To check not only what you're insured for, but also for any clauses which may contain ambiguity. It may also be worth asking your potential insurer whether or not they hold any strong religious beliefs. If I may, I'd also like to leave you with my favorite insurance company related story. This story surfaces from time to time online, and although it's great, I've absolutely no idea as to whether or not it's true. I'll enjoy it anyway, Dave. Let's go.
The Storyteller.
Some years ago, a man purchased a rather fine selection of... I know this one!
Spoilers.
They were caught in a series of small fires, Dave! Am I right? Yes, and then he claims. The insurance smoked the entire collection. He put insurance claim. The scars were fire damage. And they'd succumbed to exactly that kind of damage. Unbelievably, the case went to court. The judge found in favor of the policyholder and ordered the insurance company to pay the full value of the cigars and the legal fees. I happen to know that this story's... it didn't work out that way in the end. I don't remember what happened, but it didn't work out this way. And that's... I'm not looking it up, so someone in the comments maybe? Fuck it. Thanks for watching. God damn, I'm lazy. Although you're a writer, though. I'm just an idiot.
This is true.